Hi guys! Good evening everybody! How's everyone doing? Happy Thursday! Happy Thursday everyone! Welcome to Ruby Thursday. It's been a while. How was your January? I hope you all had a great start of the year. Hi to all of you. Hi guys, welcome to Ruby Thursday. So good to have you here. This is Ruby Schrader for those of you who don't know me yet. I am originally from the Philippines, but I moved here in Columbus, Ohio. So it's been 3 years now, and yes, I run the Schrader's travel agency, and I just wanted to give you some updates with the current travel situation. So if you have any questions along the way, if you want to know anything specific about the travel industry, just feel free to leave me a comment, and I will try to get your questions answered a little later. So we'll try to keep this short as 30 minutes, so we'll get going. So once again, I'm coming into you live from Columbus, Ohio. So I hope you guys are doing well. It's a bit cold here. It's winter. It's super cold. I don't go out much, and I do miss the sunshine. So that's just one thing. I hope you guys are ready to travel. All right, so we'll be discussing the new CDC travel requirements. I'm sure majority of you guys have already read about it. You might have heard about it. The new travel protocol, the new travel regulation actually start this 26th of January 2021. Basically, if you're traveling outside the US, when you're coming back, you need to present a negative test now. It wasn't the situation before. Before you actually have to have a negative testing before you leave the country. In some destinations, that is still the case. So for example, there are quite a few destinations, places in the Caribbean where before you enter the country or the destination, you still need to present negative testing. But now with the new CDC, you also have to have the test with you showing and stating that you are negative COVID prior to entering the US. So that's another thing. So some people might be wondering how that works. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of a summary and a breakdown based on what we receive as a travel agents updates from with our partners from the industry, which is pretty cool because with all the information, it's just way too much to digest. So what I'm going to do is just basically give you the major points, and if you have any further questions, if you're ever traveling and you need help, few points to make it like a bit of a summary of everything, because it is quite a lot of information. So yeah, so we already talked about that you need to have the negative result. This needs to be done within 72 hours prior you entering the US. So you have to make sure that you have the result within that time frame before you even come back to the US. So that's very, very important to remember. There are a lot of destinations, so I mainly focus in the Caribbean anyway for now. So for example, there are locations and resorts in the Caribbean where they actually offer free testing to all of their guests, which I think is pretty cool. I'm gonna name some of them, like for example, Couples Resorts, Iberostar Hotels, Charisma, and so many of them actually offer free testing. So that means you don't have to pay for when you need to get the test done. You just have to make sure you schedule them way in advance, considering there are also other people who would be taking the test. So you need to make sure you get the test on time so you can come back to the US. How long do you get the results? So I have been reading, and some of them, they said, actually majority of them said that it takes only 24 hours and you'll get the result. And there are some cases where it's at least 72 hours. So if your time frame is a little bit limited, if you're only staying for 5 days or less, then you just have to make sure to book the appointment and make sure you get your testing done on time so you don't miss out on that. Some hotels, some destinations, they also offer, for example, 2 complimentary testing. So if there is family traveling together and there are 4 people in the room, so 2 would get free testing and then the other 2 would have to be charged accordingly. They also require a minimum stay. Majority of them are like 3-night stay. Some resorts, some destinations doesn't have any requirements, so that is good. But I think majority of them now are starting to have at least a minimum of 3 nights because they're also providing you the free testing. Okay, so when it comes to pricing, just so you have a general knowledge of how much would this testing cost apart from all your travel expenses already once you're out of the country, it actually is, it's not the same from depending on the property, depending on the resort. Some are charging $18 per person, some are charging $22 per person. The most expensive that I have seen is actually $150 to $200, I think it's $220, and that's in St. Lucia. So that's where, the pricing are just slightly different. Where can you get the testing done? So majority of these resorts and the destinations, they do have the testing in the hotel, which is very convenient. Some, they do have the center that you have to go to and get your testing done. So we talked about the minimum length of stay. Like I said, they require 3 nights. If you need to know, for example, if you're planning to travel and you have a specific resorts in mind or destination and you don't know what's their policy or requirement at the moment, feel free to message me. I'll be happy to help you out. Like I said, there were tons of list of resorts and destinations, and each one of them actually varies. So we would just have to go through the list. I'm not going to go through all the list because that's going to take us quite a long time here. So yeah, if you do have any questions, feel free to let me know and I'll be happy to help you. Now, since I specialize in the Caribbean, I would say that if you're planning to travel, I would recommend, if not within the US, your best location would be in Mexico. What are the questions that majority of my clients are asking me at the moment? It's just to give you general knowledge of my opinion and my insights as well with regards to travel. So for example, they're asking, so when can I travel? So when can you actually travel? So I think it really depends. It really depends on you as a person, how comfortable you are in traveling right now. Like I said, there are so many destinations, there are so many resorts, everything pretty much is in place. They look after their guests. Like I personally traveled during COVID of last year, so I had a first-hand experience of what happens in the hotel, how the service is like, what really needs to be done when you're out of the country. You have to wear masks and all of that. So it really depends on where you want to go and the travel rules of the destinations. Personally, if you ask me where can you go, if you don't want to stay in the US, within the US, then your next best option from my point of view would be Mexico, like Cancun and Riviera Maya or Cozumel. There are tons of hotels who are offering this free testing, and some of them they don't even require, you don't even need to have the PCR test. Okay, this is a very interesting one. The question is, should I book now or should I wait? That's a very interesting question. So majority of us, probably you already know that if you book now, you would get like great deals in travel. There are tons of amazing packages out there. I just have to warn you on some of the websites that's probably advertising travel. Just be careful, you read all the fine prints. But if you're gonna ask, should I book now or should I wait, as a travel advisor, because I see all the promotions and the packages almost every day, I would say that you should book now. If you, however, decided to book your travel now, I would suggest that you have to consider, actually not consider, as a travel advisor, you have to purchase, including with your travel package, a travel protection plan and a travel insurance. I have discussed the travel insurance in one of my lives before. And I think majority of the travelers now, when they used to travel before without insurance, I think nowadays they would highly consider purchasing a travel insurance. Just because if you do, and if you purchase the travel protection, if in case it happens that you change your mind and you decided to cancel, or something happens and the policy or the regulations of the destinations or the resort changes along the way, you're protected. So consider it as an investment, that you're protecting your investment, because you also spend quite a lot of money with travel, right? So as your travel advisor, I would highly recommend to consider a travel protection plan and a travel insurance plan. So just to give you a little bit more idea about how a travel protection plan works. So for example, you did purchase a package, right? And then there's a certain time frame where you can cancel your booking without fees. They allow you to change even destinations if suddenly the destination shuts down because of the pandemic. And then the best part is, even if you don't, depending on the travel protection plan that you purchase, you can either get a cash refund or a travel voucher, which is normally valid for a year of purchase of travel. So that means whatever happens, you're not losing a penny, you're not wasting your money. So please, I highly recommend that if you decide to travel and you decide to book on your own and not use a travel agent. Like I said, the information about travel that you see online has a very short span. So it's good if someone actually can update you every time there are changes, especially if it's particular to your travel. So I hope you can consider that in the future in your next travel. Will I need to quarantine? So that really depends where you actually live. Maybe your state or the destination where you live, they do require you to quarantine once you're back. Yeah, so if you need to quarantine, that is really depending on the state that you live in. For example, when I traveled before to Jamaica, actually there is no requirement that you quarantine yourself for 14 days, but we just decided to self-quarantine just for the sake of it. So you can also consider that. Also, going back to, I just saw my notes. So going back to the question, should I book now or should I book later? You have to remember, once this is over, which I'm crossing my fingers that this is going to be over very soon, that there is going to be a pent-up demand for travel. So that includes flight and hotels and resorts and pretty much everything related about travel. There will be a price hike. Everything is going to increase. The demand is going to be crazy. Everyone would just want to travel. They want to go out of the country. They want to go out of their state. And so if you can secure a great deal, especially with airfare now, do it. I also book flights and I have seen crazy deals of like $29 per way, per flight. There's crazy amount of amazing deals out there. I have quite a lot of business partners who are traveling to Florida because of amazing flights. I don't know when am I traveling yet. I'm planning to book a trip in February, so we'll see. But I am comfortable that I will be traveling soon because I need to get out of here. It's way too cold. There are a lot of travel updates out there, so if you do have any questions, just please reach out to me. Feel free to share it to your friends and to your family and colleagues, especially if they are wanting to travel very soon. Otherwise, I am here to help you and answer your questions. If, for example, I don't know the answer to your questions, I have preferred partners and suppliers that I can go and reach out to right away, and they will be happy to help me out. So that is not an issue at all. If you have not followed me as well in my Instagram, my handle is @TradersTravel. I will leave it here in a comment below. If you can follow me, that would be great. We're trying to reach 1K, so that will be my goal before end of January. If you can help me out, that would be great. But other than that, yeah, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. And this is Ruby Schrader, your travel advisor. Thank you so much for tuning in this Ruby Thursday. I hope you guys stay safe, take care. Always be kind, be humble, and remember, make your life a masterpiece. I will see you soon again. Bye!